Hi, welcome back to State Press Play. I'm here with Noah and Jared from My Upside Down, the winners of Battle of the Band and the upcoming openers for Devilpalooza. So starting off, what was it like to win Battle of the Bands? You were up against 7 other ones and you came out on top. How was that?
I mean, it was exhilarating, honestly. Yeah. Our drummer, Rowan, this has never happened before. He picked me up. I was like, oh my gosh, you're so strong. And then he twirled me around for like at least 10 seconds. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. It was fun. It was so fun.
We were all just super psyched.
Yeah.
We all just felt very relieved to see our hard work pay off. I mean, like anybody would, but everyone was amazing. You know, I feel like it was very close. I think a lot of bands deserve to win, and we were just, you know, maybe a little fortunate or lucky, but it was great, you know, super, super happy and excited to be playing Devilpalooza.
And what were some of the experiences from playing these 2 past events? What were some parts that you enjoyed, something that is going to stick with you going into Devilpalooza?
Well, definitely the bands that we played with, like the Chandeliers, Alex Guthrie, Los del Centro, obviously Heat Transfer, like some really, really, really great bands.
Danko, lot of great musicians. And we learned a lot watching them, you know, so we can just kind of, you know, take the energy that they gave us on the stage and kind of just keep that going forward to Devilpalooza and, you know, just have a good time. And
what are some musicians or other bands that you would say that you draw most of your inspiration from?
Yeah, definitely these guys, My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, Rites of Spring.
Yeah. A lot of At the Drive-In, too. They have some albums that I really, really enjoy. Escape the Fate, when they were really early in their career. I think that helped shape a lot of the, you know, the tone of what we wanted, like our music to kind of sound like, just stuff that was popular in, you know, the 2000s when it came to rock music and pop punk. I think that's a huge draw for all of us. Have you ever heard of like Frank Iero?
My Chemical Romance was my favorite band for like thing? 4 years.
Yeah. Okay, sick. So you understand.
I do.
Nice. We're like, you know, the first album from them, I Brought You My Bullets, You Brought Me Your Love, that was the reason this band exists. Because, you know, it's an album that definitely saved my life, and it just gave me an inspiration that I've never heard of before. And so that like really pushed me to just go into the local music scene, and that's how I met, you know, Noah. And it's like, you know, those types of bands, like, you know, they were expressing themselves in that way, and I felt like, you know, they were touching on something that doesn't really exist right now. Because, I don't know, rock music can feel like a little plastic, if you ask me, in terms of recent records. Like, if Youngblood is the biggest rock star in the world, I'm sorry, we have a problem.
We're starting the Youngblood early. We're starting it early.
His new songs are great. His old songs, they feel a little plastic, but you know, there's goodness in all of his music. It's just in different ways. I'm just saying that like rock music was so better represented back then for a million different reasons. And I lived for like, you know, these past 3 years, I've lived in that era and just like trying to bring that to right now through all of us.
And what are some ways that you're bringing that back?
Just studying it, you know, treating it like an experiment and identifying the variables, what works, what doesn't, and just taking it apart like an equation. And then putting our own voice in as a new variable. Some people will call you basic or cliche or cringe for liking that, you know, mainstream emo pop music. But I think there's a reason it's so mainstream. Greatness always finds its way to the top, you know.
Well, we classify ourselves as like violent pop, but the message of the band, I feel like, is something more of like, for me, healing the world of like, of its tragedies, but through like acknowledgement of emotional realness, you know. having some sort of way to see the light at the end of the tunnel that doesn't involve like, I guess, like shutting your eyes to the reality that we live in, more about just opening your eyes to, you know, what we can do for each other, which is help each other out, give each other a place to exist, and be confident, and provide safety for each other, for sure. Jared?
That's such a noble answer, dude. Like, I love that because I love connecting with people. Like, that's a huge reason. Just like connecting with people and, you know, giving them energy to, you know, manifest things in their own life, because not everyone, you know, wants to do exactly what you're doing. And so all you can do is just try, and I feel like what we're doing is just putting art out and hoping that somebody can get inspired to feel the need to do something that they deem important. And it doesn't have to be a song. It could be, I'm going to write. It could be, I'm going to paint. It could be, I'm going to go out and go to law school because, like, this song got me amped up, and I've been thinking about doing that for a minute, but now I'm amped up, so I'm going to do it. You know, like, that's the stuff that I really identify with as helping. And so I want to do that. But I also want to tell, you know, messed up stories about scary stuff like murder and horror, and, you know, that's some of what our music is really based in, is like our love of horror music and horror movies. And
what's one thing that you would love people to know through you?
You just got to persevere through adversity, I would say, because there's always going to be adversity. There's always going to be somebody who's like, you suck. You know, I don't know why, but you just suck. I don't like you, and I don't like what you're doing. There's always going to be somebody like that. So you have to just double down and realize that there's, on the other side of that, there's somebody out there that's really going to appreciate what I'm doing. And if you can find people like that, you have a chance. I think that's a huge thing that kind of defines our band, is like we put ourselves out there enough times that we were able to find somebody who was willing to listen.
Going into Devilpalooza this Saturday, if there was one thing that you wanted the audience to know, whether it was somebody finding your music for the first time, maybe this is their 30th concert of yours, or they're just kind of casually going to Devilpalooza and they want to get to know you afterwards, what is one thing you would want them to know about My Upside Down?
That we care about good music.
Yeah. And the people who listen to that good music, you know.
And we care about a good show.
That's true. We love to put on a good show. And it's important, you know, like people came out here for a reason. They're here to, I mean, have some sort of experience, and we want to give that to them. So
You better be ready to dance.
Dance, or at
That's
least
one thing you got to know.
jump up and down.
Yeah, just bang your head.
So,
Because we do a lot of that. So.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. And
Thank
if
you.
anybody would like to come and dance around and headbang, come see My Upside Down at Devilpalooza. And thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for watching.
yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.